The young people came up with the name, they designed it. We created the designs for our hoodies. We decide if we want an agenda at the meetings. We lead the meetings. We decide what we want to discuss at the meetings, along with obviously what the researchers want to discuss if there's any projects. Basically, the young people are Youth Speak.
It's important that young people's opinions are heard because it's only young people who are going to know what the young people need or want.
I was involved in a piece of research by one of the researchers who was running the group, and once the piece of research was done, he was asking me about what other groups I was a part of, and he said that I would like the sound of Youth Speak, so I came along with my sister for the first meeting because she was doing some graphics work for them, and then I just never left.
I found out about Youth Speak in one of my Invest in Children meetings.
I went to the very first meeting of Change Your Mind, and Helen Stein and Patrick Walsh came in and spoke about projects that they were hoping to get young people involved in, and I just thought at that time, that's me, I want to be involved in that.
So I found out about it was on a flyer that I saw at the university, and then Charlotte told me about Youth Speak, and that's what made me want to go. The first thing that attracted me was your logo, which is on my hoodie, which is really good. It was really bright, and then I read more about it and I saw it was about reducing mental health stigma, and that's really important to me.
I mentioned to my academic advisor that I'd like to work with children, adolescents and mental health in the future, and she recommended Youth Speak as a potential platform to kind of start getting involved while I'm still in university.
We went along to the first meeting, and actually I thought that it was interesting looking back to see how the group has developed, because one of the first meetings it was very much, you could tell that they hadn't worked with young people because they were standing up at the front and the agenda was very well thought out. Once they got to know us, they relaxed, and we all relaxed. They realised very quickly that working with young people is different, and they made it something to look forward to every month.
When I start a new group, I always feel a bit anxious of what it's going to be like and what's going to happen.
I was terrified that the researchers would be rude and scary. I was petrified that they would say that they weren't going to like my ideas. I was petrified that the other members would be scary or not like me or not make an effort to speak to me. So I was just expecting to go and then know from the first 5 minutes that I wasn't going to go back.
As soon as I got there, everyone was so nice, and it was a really welcoming environment, and it was informal, and we just introduced ourselves, so straight away I was introduced to everyone in the group. I had Charlotte there, who I already knew, but I was still kind of nervous that I would be the new person and people wouldn't really know me, but as soon as I got there, before I even walked in, people were running over to me asking me what my name was and how I knew Charlotte, so straight away you just felt like you'd been going for ages.
They were planning a session they were doing at a conference with researchers, and they were planning a role play piece that we're going to do, and even though I couldn't make the conference because I had college, they still were really making sure that I was involved in the production of it and the practicing of it, so they were making sure that I was still comfortable there and not left by myself.
At the first meeting we did a fun icebreaker and games, and I met loads of new people. I came back to the second meeting after because it was a really fun and friendly group.
At the first meeting, what I liked about it was that we did make the decisions. We even made the decisions about where we sat in the room, and it was that made us realise actually we are going to be listened to. And also the fact we looked at the group agreement, then we started thinking about the names and what we wanted Youth Speak to be. When they came to us as a group, they came into the room and they didn't lie, they said what they said they were going to do, and that's what they did at the first meeting. They showed what they said they committed to.
I think one of the things my sister would say impressed me the most is the fact that we got pizza, but it was just, when you go for a new place for the first time and you don't know a lot of people, it's you're really scared. But with Youth Speak, it just felt really open, and even though I didn't know the vast majority of people there, I just felt really everybody was really welcoming.
Everyone's kind of on the same level, and it's an open forum for everyone to share what they feel.
I think a typical session with Youth Speak isn't what a lot of people would expect it to be. I think before people come along, they probably expect it to be boring, but usually we just sit and have a really open discussion. There's no strict schedule to it or anything. We just kind of bounce off each other with ideas that we have, and we have an agenda that we go through. It's just really open and a really safe environment for everybody to openly be honest and discuss their ideas.
So for me, the sessions are amazing because it allows everyone to come from all different walks of life, and we all come from different circumstances and different areas even, and we get to brainstorm ideas and think about ways of doing things like reducing mental health stigma and really important issues, and we get to look at it all together.
For me, I think the session was really enjoyable because it was really informal, and the activities like drawing and brainstorming are really fun as well, so it kind of makes you want to go back.
Until, well, about a year ago, I would see typical researchers being tall, hiding behind a clipboard, glasses, pretty old, wearing like turtleneck jumper.
My image of a researcher is a man who's in a lab who just looks at tiny little elements all day with a white coat on.
Wear a suit and they don't listen to young people, and they walk around asking you stupid questions that a 5-year-old could answer.
It can be really boring. Like, they just talk gibberish sometimes.
Some things that I think researchers should definitely avoid is using a lot of long words, because young people will be bored and won't understand what you're saying. Yeah.
I don't mind the academic paper being extremely hard to read, because that's fine, but maybe having a version of their paper and their research that is accessible, not using long words, not using constant acronyms. The level of commitment and passion from researchers like Helen and Lauren is just that much better, and that makes a much bigger difference than if you were to just kind of tokenistic visit a group and not really listen to what they were saying.
There's a lot more to being a researcher than there is just by having a degree or going to university, and I think that in being involved in research we're kind of getting rid of that stereotype.
Empathic, understanding, approachable, really looking to do the research to make a difference.
I think some of the things you have to keep in mind if you want to set up a group is to make sure that there's always something there for young people. I do think in a lot of situations researchers think that it's really difficult to recruit young people, but it's not. I think there's this whole idea that young people aren't interested in research, but it's not, they just don't know how to get involved. So I think making sure that they can get equal opportunities out of it, like going for trips and making sure that they're like aware of what could happen. And I think one of the most important things, and I think the reason why a lot of people, young people, do want to get involved in research is because if they've had bad experiences themselves, then they want to know that they can make a difference, and I think that's really important.
The advice I would give is to not let the young people do everything, but to let them do most of the things. So like with this group, we get to do like speaking at conferences, doing most of the work, but it's better not to let the young people do everything or they'll run havoc.
The steps I would take to encourage people to get involved in mental health is obviously social media, because everyone uses it these days, unless you're old. Set up a Facebook page and then a Twitter page, or then whatever else, Instagram, Bebo.
If I went on the website or the Facebook group or the Twitter, I'd like to see like photos of them like having fun, so that everybody can see that it is a fun group.
In terms of the Twitter posts, I think that like collectively we should all write them.
Well, there's an idea upstairs going on right now about a group selfie or something. You need to post pictures, you need to put up reviews of what you've been doing, and that means people say, oh, this is trustworthy, I can go there.
If I was a researcher and wanted to set up a group like YouthSpeak, the first steps I would probably take to advertise it is a good place to look at is always schools. But I think the whole putting up a poster and expecting loads of people to turn up is really overused and it doesn't work. So probably your best bet is to advertise online, to be honest, through social media, because that's where a lot of young people would be able to see your message and not be worried that other people like around them, if they're in a school environment, would see or know that they were interested. To advertise just that them going, it wouldn't be a waste of time, that they could actually get something out of it and that they were making a difference, I think is really important to remember as well.
I think researchers who are thinking of setting up a group like YouthSpeak should make sure that they give all young people a chance to go. So they should work around them, make sure what times people are normally at sixth form or college or uni.
Tell them that you get your travel paid for, so that they know that you get your travel paid for before you get to the meeting, so then they're not out of pocket.
People might need support attending mental health research groups. For example, they might need support with transport, like getting to the groups, providing help getting there and back might make them more likely to be able to come.
I'd try and get together a completely diverse group of people, because I think that encourages people to get outside their comfort zone rather than having one kind of leader who sits there and talks at you. Rather, it's an interactive thing where you're sharing your ideas.
Get loads of different people. I think the reason that we have such good ideas is because everyone's so different, and I love that. So I think, yeah, keep it open to as many people as possible.
Keep the atmosphere relaxed and informal.
Yeah, it's easier to have ideas when it's not, there's no pressure for any ideas, it's kind of relaxed, and if you come up with an idea then great, it's a bonus.
First, I'll take the white coat off. then I would try and find out any groups who have like experience in mental health and set up links with them. So if they've got young people, we can bring them over to this meeting.
I think another important thing to remember is that young people are more approachable to young people than adults are. I think a lot of young people feel more comfortable if there's other young people there saying that it's a good idea, because obviously if they're in the same age range, they use like the same language, and researchers tend to use a lot of vocabulary that people don't understand.
To recruit young people, groups should go to events like Northern Pride or the Sunderland Air Show, where they know a lot of young people are going to be going, and they could set up a stall and make it interesting so they attract the young people. At the stall they can make sure they have leaflets explaining what the group does, and they have the young people explaining why other people should get involved, and also make sure there's some free stuff on the table. Like, young people always like free stuff.
In the first meeting, when you actually bring the young people in, say, yeah, we've got an idea, but how do you think you could put your own stamp on this?
Be honest with them from the beginning, set the boundaries and ask the young people what's the best way to communicate with them, not making their decisions themselves.
Setting targets, setting goals, getting the young people to set their goals, what do they want to achieve from the group, right from the start, know what they want to achieve from the group, and then you've got a good idea of how to structure future things. You know what opportunities to look for, you know what interests young people have, and then you can apply that to anything that you do.
I think it's really important for a young person's group like Youth Speak or others to remember communication between members. Often a lot of people can't attend meetings, and I think it's a good idea to share notes and share ideas outside of the meetings, which is where social media could come in.
For members who can't make every meeting, it'd be a good idea for them to be able to access videos and images of things that the young people did do during the meeting, so that they can keep updated with what's going on and they can feel involved as well.
If I do say so myself, my blogs were sent around, started to be emailed around to people, and when I couldn't attend a meeting, someone would write a guest blog, then I would just have to put it up on the Tumblr page, and I think that's a good way because it's a social media website and a lot of people do listen to it.
So when I can't go, Lauren will always keep in touch via text or email. They keep me informed, basically. It makes me more excited to go back.
Because the people we work with in the group have let young people take such a hands-on approach with all of the work that we do, I feel like it's just really enabled all of us to it makes us feel like we are making a difference when researchers come in and ask us questions, and I just feel like it's a really safe space because we can all say exactly what we're thinking, so we know that we are really making a difference.
I feel my voice is out there in paper, written on an academic piece of paper. That is the most empowering thing for a young person.
Youth Speak allows you to be creative and practical at the same time, so like we can actually make a difference.
The group to me it's a way for me to get my voice across.
You also get something out of it if you're putting something into it. Like, you can gain confidence and public speaking skills, and being able to put Youth Speak on my personal statement for uni really strengthened it.
It's just the kindness of the people who run it. I mean, they're very friendly, they're very supportive, and even if when you're going through a bad time like I was when I started, they actually help us through.
My motto in life's been, we are the next generation. Therefore, if we've got to make decisions, we can't if the older generation are going to make all the decisions for us. So this group to me lets me learn a lot about the future, what the future's got to hold.
I think for me it's like to make a difference, so to carry on doing things that could eventually have an impact and make things better for young people. It's like doing things that you actually see happening and see out there and like making a change and making an impact on people.
Just all of the people in the group are so like-minded and we all share the same values, whereas some other groups that I've been to in the past just it hasn't been the same, and I've always found myself wanting to go back to Youth Speak because even just being in a space with them where I know that I'm getting something out of it and everybody does think the same way as me and is coming up with all of these really good ideas, I just want to make sure that I get involved with it all.
It's a group that has 100% got young people's stamp on it and does what it says on the tin and continues to grow, and it's just a fun, dynamic group of young people and researchers getting together and just making a difference.
It's an absolutely brilliant group to come to.
If they were starting up a group and they were doing research with young people and they didn't use any of the young person's ideas, then they might make like a group that's really boring.
You need to get young people involved if you want to know everything.
I just honestly think that Youth Speak could make a difference throughout
the world.